I guess it's time to explain how this works. So first we're gonna go through how to use this. Alright, so we wait for darkness. It can happen every 30 seconds, but it only has a 20% chance to happen. That was. So you directly click on start timer when you see it. Alright, then we directly do dummy enchant. I'm gonna explain this enchanting table setup later. And now we crack the first seed. For that, like this setup has like different bookshelf powers for all the enchanting tables. So this is 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 0. And we just start with 15 and go down. And we just enter the bookshelf numbers and then the levels that are produced by those bookshelf numbers. And what you have to watch out is here on the first XP crack, you need to watch the timer. That's why it is also on this side. Because you have to do the second dummy enchant, or second like enchant we will see do in a second. Oops, I'm not doing anymore what I wanted to do. You have to do the enchant in the same cycle as where this first XP seed is found. 25. We're on 10. So usually this is 2 times the number you enter here, but not always. Sometimes it's one more. For lower ones it's also can be less. Okay, 2. Okay, I waited for the darkness cycle to be over because this was possible. Oh, we're getting unusually unlucky right now. Usually I stop at 10, 1. There we go. Then we do an enchant. We still have 14 seconds to do that, but like I always do it as fast as possible. Alright, and now we just do the same again. 15, 14, 11, 10. That should be all. Okay, we got it, and now we calculate the seed, and now we have the seed, and that means we can start enchanting. Let's just enchant a book. So, just as a use case, so I want a book, and I want it. I don't want to disenchant it, so I uncheck this. I am willing to do 2 dummies. So we do a rare one. Like if you do rare enchants, then you probably want to check this. Maybe an education 3 book. Okay, so we do 2 dummies. We sow 2 stacks and 43. We wait for 2 cycles. Well, 1.5 cycles because the 2 cycle is almost done. We enchant on 15 bookshelves on slot 3 on this one. And let's just check how it looks if we don't allow 2 dummies. Then we don't find it. So right now we only find it like this. And you see I calculated new and it's a different number now because this went over. So it's 3 now, which makes it a bit easier. I'm gonna throw a few books. So how much was it? 2 stacks and 42. So this amount. Watch out that you don't have the auto refill option on. Otherwise this can get a bit annoying, and if you accidentally throw one too much, it's gonna be fucked. You won't get the enchant you want. As usual in a creative world we have a thunderstorm because I use weather clear too often. That's how it is. Alright. Sometimes when you pick the books up, you throw them again, which is kind of weird, but that's an aircraft thing. So we threw the items, now we still have to wait for this to go to 0, so this turns to 0, but since we have 2 dummies, we can do the first dummy already. It really doesn't matter when you do the first dummy, I could have done it before throwing the items, but the second dummy has to happen when this shows 0. Alright, and then on 15... 3. There it is. And then you click done before this goes to 0. Alright, that's how you use it. First means you want the enchant, like if you only choose one enchant, like if I choose 2 enchants, it doesn't matter anymore. But if I only choose one enchant that I want, and this is marked, then it will only look for stuff where this enchant is the top enchant, so you can disenchant it. So this is this, and this just allows this go to go to 2. Like if you have one dummy, you only pay 1 extra level and 1 extra lapis and 1 extra book. If you have 2, then of course you pay 2 levels, 2 lapis, 2 books. So it's more expensive and arguably also more complex to do. Like you can fuck it up if if you don't notice this is a 2 and then you only do 1 dummy and you're confused. That's like it can be annoying. Right. Also, I'm amazed that I have 5 stacks here. That's the maximum here is 6 stacks. I added that because I found more throwing more than 6 stacks is annoying, and also takes long to find the enchants if you go higher here. If you want to have it higher, you would have to compile the enchantment cracker from the GitHub code yourself and increase it. Alright, so that's that. And then the enchanting table setup. So there's 2 enchanting table setups you can use. Like if you have a lot of enchantment tables, you can do this. God damn it. Alright. But there's also the cheap one, which is this one. I'm gonna shortly explain this one. So this is a normal enchantment table setup, just 15 bookshelves. And then, like, 1 is missing, it doesn't really matter which one. And then 4 of these in an L shape have a piston on it. And then you can click those pistons from the side. Like from this corner, you can reach all the pistons. Oh, if you do it right. Now you just have to think how many each of the pistons remove. Like this and this piston, they only remove this bookshelf each, like only 1. So this is, if you click them on, it's -1 bookshelf. So this is 14, this is 14. And these are corners, they are -3. So if I click this on, this is 12. So 15 minus 3 is 12. So if I want to go from 15, this is 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, and then 9. Hope that makes sense. So that's the cheap situation. You just need 4 levers. They are on the lower part here, so you have to reach that. And 4 pistons and the usual enchantment setup. You would probably also want another enchantment table for 0 bookshelves somewhere on the top here. And then down here is the more complex version. You don't really need the top ones if you don't want to do lower level enchants. You probably need it until here, so this lower row, this one, maybe 2 more, and then the 0 one. And here you just do 2 rows above each other of 9 bookshelves. So this is 9, 9. And on top is 5. And here's also 5 on the lower part. Like if I look from above, you can see It's just like this. And then here where the 5 ends is the middle of the enchantment tables. This one can stand wherever. Like it just, well, this can't stand there, but here. Or here, or wherever. It's the 0 bookshelves. And like in this setup, you just get like, this has 1 bookshelf, that's just this one, and this one has these 2, and then this one has these 3, etc. And then these have, like, each has 5 more than the ones above. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, yeah. And then these have like 10 on this side each, and then they get added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from left to right. So that's just making it easier, but it's not necessarily necessary to do the setup. Alright, then God Weapon and Treasure Enchants. So can you get a God Weapon with the Enchantment Cracker? Yes, I would say you can. You can't get Treasure Enchants. So these you will have to replace. Advanced Mending you can just replace with Mending, you get that in any port city. Curse of Possession is kinda necessary. You get that on a lot of end city loot, like the new end cities or the vanilla end cities. You get it. It's really not hard. Supreme Sharpness, you either find a villager or you find a book somewhere, or you just use Advanced Sharpness. Even though even Advanced Sharpness is kinda annoying. Upgrade potentials can be replaced by just paying more XP instead of 1, 2, 4, 4 upgrade potentials 1, 2, 4, 4. As usual, you do just 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and then whatever's left. Subject English, or the other subjects, if you really want to, can just be left out. Like, it doesn't really change anything. Or you find it. I mean, it's also on NCT loot. You could get it from the bookworm. It's possible. Adapt the same. NCT loot or bookworm, or you just leave it. Supreme Fire Aspect can be replaced with Advanced Fire Aspect without any problem. Now the enchants you can easily get on the table are Sweeping Edge, Lifesteal, Unbreaking, Vampirism, Atomic Deconstructor. The stuff that is a bit more annoying is Purging Blade, Envenomed, Swift Slashes, and Arc Slash. You get these pretty easily on the table. You just have to combine them. You don't get them on the max level. Like, you could, in theory, get Purging Blade 5 on the table. You won't, though. You can get it as level 3 and Venom 3. You can get it. It's gonna be rare. Like, sometimes you get it, sometimes not. Swift Slashes 5, forget it. You won't get it. And Arc Slash 3, no, you can't get Arc Slash 3. You can get Arc Slash 2. That's kinda rare, but not extremely rare. You will get it. Okay, and then these are a bit more annoying, even though, well, this was for the normal enchantment table, it's right. RPC3 you always get, that's not hard. The level 40 enchants, you can still get them. Same with Ash Destroyer 3 and Viper 3, you get that, it's really not hard. Advanced Looting 2, however, is hard. You will probably have to combine Advanced Looting 1. And then Advanced Sharpness, you also, like, you can get it on level 3, but at level 45, so it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So you have to combine it from Advanced Sharpness 2, most probably. You can look for it, especially on Wolf Armor, but because it has higher enchantability, but you won't get it. Then Clear Skies, it's not worth it. Like, you get it as level 2, you would have to combine it to level 6 for plus 5 damage. Fuck that shit. It also depends whether you have a disenchantment table or not. Because if you have a disenchantment table, you can just do something like this, like any weapon, and then you do gold tool. And then you get, for example, you get Ash Destroyer 3, which you don't get if you have to get it from a book. Like, if you do a book, then the maximum Ash Destroyer is 2. So it is definitely worthwhile to get a Disenchantment table, genau. The materials, like the higher the number here, the better the materials you get. If the number is the same, then chances are gonna be the same. So a gold helmet and a gold bookworm helmet and a tight guardian helmet will always have the same enchants. Exactly. So usually you just do gold tool. If you really wanna stretch it, you can check any available material, but then it's gonna take a bit to calculate. Like, let's see if I have advanced sharpness 3 right now. He doesn't find it. Maybe with 2 dummies. No, doesn't find it in 6 throwable stacks. Oh, it found it. Knife, material tier 5, so that's gold. And we found it. You can also check what it shows. It shows advanced sharpness 3. It's only gonna be advanced sharpness 3. I didn't check first here. I should have. It would have found this too, though. Yeah. Like, you will see that, for example, yeah, RPC 3 is easy to get. Swifter Slashes 4 is pretty easy to get, but Swifter Slashes 5, you just won't get it. Yeah. It's not impossible, but it doesn't find it. Same here with Clear Skies. It's just not gonna happen. You see the level here, 45, forget it. It's not gonna happen. Alright. You can throw one more to not wait so long. I don't know if I can explain that. It doesn't really fit here, but it's one strat you can do. Alright, we have this. Let's say we are really fast in throwing those 4 stacks in 34. And it's still showing 2, and we still have a bit of time. Then I could throw one more item and just assume that this shows 0. If you don't want to wait for 1 minute. It is one strat you can do, but if I try it, I usually fuck shit up because I get stressed out and then I do errors. So I don't recommend, but you can do it. Alright, that's how you use it, and now just a little explanation of how it works. There's 2 variables you have to look at. Each player has RNG. RNG is just this seed down here. So this is a number which is pretty big. You can see that there is 4, 8, 12. So it's 16 to the power of 12 different numbers, or if you write it differently, that's 2 to the power of 4 to the power of 12, so times 12, that's 2 to the power of 48. So there's 48 different random numbers, and 2 to the power of 48, so that's a lot. And these get cycled between, well, they follow each other randomly. You can see, like, they're on a line that you can move on here. And each number predicts different enchantment levels and different enchants. In this case, on a book, on a different item and on a different material, it would predict different enchants. So that's the player RNG. This player RNG gets used when you create particles from eating, from sprinting, from potion effects. If like it gets used from the darkness thing from Lycanites, it gets used when you throw items, it gets used when you enchant, of course. And from Elman you crop growth as well. So that's one variable. And then there's another variable, which is the XP seed. That is this variable, and you can already see that there's a connection. The XP seed is smaller, it's only 2 to the power, 16 to the power of 8 or 2 to the power of 32 different numbers. Each XP seed predicts different enchantments. It doesn't really matter what these numbers at the end are, it's only these 8 hexadecimal numbers that predict the enchantments down here. So there's 2 to the power of 32, which is around 4 billion. 4.3 billion, so 10 to the power of 9 different enchantments. Or seeds that create different enchantments. And you can crack which one you have by just entering the numbers here that this XP seed predicts. Like this cracker, it's from Earth Computer, it just checks all the possible seeds and checks which of those 4.3 billion seeds produces the numbers that you enter. And it just filters it out until it only has one left. Okay, so there's these two. Now, something you have to understand is that the RNG gets loaded into the XP seed when you enchant. Like this happens on enchant. That's why we have to do dummies. So when you see the first dummy here, is actually you load the current RNG into the XP seed and then you crack that XP seed. Then you do the second dummy where you load in now the new current RNG, which would be just the next number if there wasn't the whole darkness bullshit here. It would just be the next number. You can actually check how many numbers away it is on the cracker. Yeah, for me it was 9 seeds farther because I took a bit longer. Alright, so yeah. The second dummy loads the RNG in the XP seed, and then you crack that XP seed. And then every time you do new enchants, before you do the enchant you want, you first have to load the current RNG, which you have manipulated. We manipulate this by throwing items and stuff. You have to load that in the enchanting table, if you could say, with the dummy. So that's what's happening. And then the question is just how do we manipulate the RNG in a way that we get the enchants we want. And there's 3 different actions that you can do. There's throwing, there's waiting, and there is dummy enchants. And each does a different amount of steps. Throwing does 4 steps, waiting does 2 steps, dummies does 1 step. That's why you can throw 1 more instead of 2 waiting periods. Like instead of doing this twice, you can just do this once. But that's a bit more advanced. And that's also why it's possible to do 2 dummies, but there is not a possibility of doing 3 dummies, because if you had 3 dummies, you could also just wait 30 seconds and then do 1 dummy. This is kind of a ruler of numbers. Like any number can be produced from these numbers. So like if I have 11 steps, I can do that as 2 times 4. So 2 items, and then we still have 3 left, so we do 1 times 2, 1 waiting period, and then 1 dummy. Each number can be deconstructed like that. And that's the numbers that you get on here, of course. So this is the 4, 2, 1. Exactly. You could now say, but 2 dummies, can't I just wait longer? But no, the dummies have to be always at least 1. If the dummy is 0, you don't load in the RNG into the XP seed. That only works if the current RNG is already giving you the enchant that you want. Like from the previous enchant or whatever, you already have an XP seed. And if that XP seed has the possibility to get you the enchant you want, then you don't have to do anything. That is possible if you, for example, if you don't choose anything, it's gonna tell you throw 0, wait 0, do 0 dummy enchants. So that means you directly get what you want. Like right now I don't want anything, so I just get the first thing that is possible, which is in this case Purification 1 on 9 bookshelves. It would be 0 bookshelves first slot if I hadn't set that automatically all the garbage enchants in aircraft, like half of the enchants in the aircraft are garbage, are on the not wanted list. There's a wanted list and a not wanted list, and on a not wanted list there's a lot of garbage enchants. I could unmark this first thing and then it would just give me... Still not. I misunderstand my own program. Alright. That's fine. Alright. That's the explanation of how it works. And then a little troubleshoot. So what you need for this to work is, first of all, you need to be in survival mode. In creative mode, well, you can do it, but then the whole darkness cycle doesn't happen. So you can use it to try it out, but like then you don't have to use the timer. Like you never start the timer. So that's one thing. And then the TPS has to be stable because these 30 seconds run on the TPS. And for example, right now I'm paused. You can't do that in single player. If you pause, then you have to restart or debug by moving here the seat. So you can't pause. That doesn't work. You can't sprint. Sprinting creates particles. No, I don't see. I see them. Yeah, you can't sprint. You can't have potion effects. So the potion effects here, those create particles as well. You can't relog. Like every time you load into the game, no matter if single player or multiplayer, you get totally new RNG. It doesn't just get moved somewhere, but like you get new RNG. In single player, by the way, what I do to switch to the cracker is I go into chat, so it doesn't get paused. You can also just go in the enchantment table and it also doesn't get paused. But yeah, that's what you have to do, and of course you have to have stable TPS. So if someone else on your server is exploring right now and generating chunks, that's gonna fuck up everything. It's not gonna work. So if you want to do this on a server, then better don't do it when someone else is on. Of course, the question is, should you do it on a server? I can't answer that. I found it kind of cheaty. I think that's definitely something that gives you an unfair advantage, but on the other hand, I don't know. Getting enchantments in aircraft is kind of annoying, so this is one way to get them. Alright, so then one big problem is if you have levels in green thumb. If you do, you're fucked. It's not gonna work anymore. It uses the player RNG every single tick, and that's just gonna move way too fast forward. So you just can't use the enchantment cracker anymore. Alright, and then there's stuff like it's possible to debug the cracker when you fucked up. Like I often fuck up. So let's say I had the game paused. Well, no, that's fucked. No, I can't. You can't debug when the game was paused. It just doesn't work. Alright, I'm too lazy to do this right now. You can debug your cracker if you threw an item too much, or if you waited for the wrong cycle, like you did it in the wrong cycle, you waited too long, or whatever. You just do a new enchant, and you do a dummy enchant. Like here you just choose nothing, I don't know, you click calculate, it's gonna tell you to do 0, 0, 0. And then in the same darkness cycle, you do this enchant, and you click done. And then afterwards, you check, well, it doesn't have to be 15 levels, but I usually do it on 15. You enter here 15 and check the enchantments here. Check the enchantments here. They won't overlap if you fucked up. If they do overlap, then you don't have to do anything. But if they don't, you have to move the seed to the spot where it predicts the right enchant. And it depends on what error you have done, whether you have to go backwards or forwards. Usually you have to go forwards on the cracker. So you usually do more steps in the game, like I don't know, you throw one more item, so you have to go 4 steps further, or you waited for one more tick, for one more cycle, then you have to go 2 steps forwards. I don't know, but like it's possible that I don't know, you calculated an enchant here, and it said like throw 3 stacks, and here you didn't throw 3 stacks and you directly did an enchant, then the cracker would be too far forwards and you would have to go backwards, but that's the more rare case. Yeah, so usually I would, like, it depends which error you do, but I would just check a bit forwards. If you don't find it, check a bit backwards, and if you still don't find it, think about what error you did and in which direction it should be, and if it's worth it to debug this, or if you just wanna recrack the seed. I mean, it just costs 2 levels, which is easy with XP homes. And 2 lapis and 2 books and a bit of time. So like 5 minutes of time. That's fine. Alright, that's it. That's my explanation. Hope that helped. I'm gonna cut this video now. I hate it. And I can only say like and subscribe.